we've seen this kind of thing before. We've seen it tons and tons of times. And I don't understand why this keeps happening. Because this has been a thing ever since Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. This has been a thing ever since then. Where it's almost a very awesome and cool thing to see heroes that you love and admire and adore so much get brutally murdered by someone that in normal circumstances they really wouldn't get killed by. And this has been a thing ever since Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. I can't really think of a time ever before that, honestly. And this story has been insanely popular as an Elseworld story. This eventually led into Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. This was also insanely popular. It spun off a trilogy of stories dealing with Deadpool Illustrated, Deadpool kills Deadpool. Hell, it even spawned its own special sequel that's Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe 2. Not as good as the first in my opinion, but it still is a thing. So why is it that stories like this work, whereas Suicide Squad kills the Justice League does not? I'm going to explain why. Because even though the stories are handled extremely similarly, especially the Punisher one, where a lot of heroes are killed in ways that normally they wouldn't be. They are clearly derived, they're clearly taken away from their plot armor. And clearly the people with guns that we're supposed to be rooting for, these vigilantes, are given all the plot armor that usually our heroes would be given. And these characters, who normally wouldn't pose a threat, all of a sudden are the most dangerous beings on the planet. So why does it work with Punisher? Why does it even work with Deadpool? Not once, but 4 times. But it doesn't work for the Suicide Squad. It's not so much their team that's the problem. It's the story that's the problem. Now, really, think about it for a sec, right? We have Punisher kills the Marvel Universe, right? Now, in my opinion, is this any fucking big stride in storytelling? Fuck no, it's not. It's a decent story. I own the story. And it's an actually okay-ish story. Now, why does this story work whereas the Suicide Squad does not? For me personally, the reason as to why this works is because it's not in the mainline Marvel Universe. And it's not in a Marvel Universe that I personally have any investment in. It is a universe that was literally created and ended to tell this one story, which makes it self-contained. This takes away the whole, well, if you really think about it in the mainline universe, this character did this, this, and this, or this character is capable of this, this, or this. It takes away a lot of that conversation because you immediately put this in an Elseworld story. Now you might be saying, technically Suicide Squad's an Elseworld story. I'll get to that. Then we get into Deadpool. Why does Deadpool work? Hell, even more than the Punisher. Because in my honest opinion, if you were to ask me, who could kill the Marvel Universe, Punisher or Deadpool, I honestly gotta think Deadpool has a chance. Why? Because you can't kill him. You genuinely cannot kill Deadpool. You can burn him alive as much as you want. You can chop him up into little pieces. He always comes back. He's that roach that you could just never kill. So someone like Deadpool going around killing the Marvel Universe, well, yes, some of the ways that he killed heroes, like for instance how he killed Spider-Man, I've never agreed with how he killed Spider-Man. If you want my honest opinion on how Deadpool should have killed Spider-Man, easy fucking way to do it, right? Have all of Peter Parker's relatives captured, right? Have them like somewhere where there's a bomb. Peter has to go in a high-intensity situation where his spider sense is constantly on alert because he has to disarm these bombs. They're in a building. There's tons of armed men everywhere. Peter goes in there to try and save his relatives, save his family, whatever, and defuse the bomb. However, what he can't sense, and this has always been established, is 2 things can always never set off Peter's spider sense. Well, not 3 if you count the new Iron Man metal that Iron Man's making a suit out of in the comics. Ignore that. 1 is the Venom symbiote. And 2 is some technology Iron Man made for his Iron Man suit in Civil War. I personally would just have Deadpool in an Iron Man technology suit like that could shut off the spider sense and have him beat Peter to death because Iron Man basically did it himself in a fucking baseball field. Or have him with the Venom symbiote on, the Venom symbiote on a gun and the bullet, and just shoot at Peter. Peter wouldn't be able to sense the gun. I don't understand why that's so hard. Just make a Venom symbiote gun. He can't sense the symbiote. Shoot him. Done. It's over. I believe that more. But either way, I digress. Back to the main story. Why is it that gets a pass, but the Suicide Squad does not? Hell, Deadpool even got a fucking sequel where he went into another universe. and killed the Marvel heroes. Why does that work? Because again, they did something like they did with the Punisher story. They took their own universe. They made their own universe. This is not the main Deadpool. This is not the Deadpool of a well-beloved story like Days of Future Past or Age of Extinction or Avenger vs. X, like whatever. Ignore the last one. But this is not an alternate universe that we care about. This is an alternate universe that was made and died just to tell this story. And that's actually very fucking important that people do not understand. Because when you get to something like the Suicide Squad, this story fundamentally does not work. It just simply does not. The reason as to why is not because I have a problem with the Justice League dying. I do not. I do not have a problem with the Justice League dying. Because honest to God, I have been wanting them to make a Deadpool kills the DC Universe kind of story. With their own characters, of course. I've been wanting to see that. The closest we ever got was like this Nightwing story in the comics where he kind of killed the DC Universe by shutting off everyone's powers with it was a really bad story. But Nightwing kills the DC Universe is technically a story. That technically exists. And then if you really want to get into the meat and potatoes of it, be like, I want to see more DC universes die. Technically, Dark Knight's Metal with the whole evil Batman, they destroy their entire worlds. You kind of get your fill there too. Now, while those stories are in their own universes, they work for what they're doing. Not the Nightwing one, but they still work for what they're doing because they're not in the main DC universe or universe that we care about. Fast forward to something like this with the Suicide Squad, you're in a universe that we all care about. You're in a universe that we have grown up with. I grew up with the Arkham trilogy. I grew up playing those games. I have played every single Arkham game. I stand by what I say in terms of this. The fucking Arkham Origins does not deserve half the hate that it gets. Don't get me wrong, it's still a buggy mess. I played it recently. That motherfucker is still buggy as shit on the PlayStation 3. But in terms of story and gameplay, fucking love that thing. That thing is really fucking great. Way better than Gotham Knights. Fucking love that shit, right? And for you to bring back the Arkham universe, clearly you're doing this not only for marketing, but, well, actually, no, it's just for marketing. You're doing it exclusively for marketing because at the end of the day, you know the fucking hold that the Arkham series holds on, the core gaming public. When you say Arkham, people will either think one of two things. One, Arkham Asylum, or two, the Arkham trilogy. That's just how it is now. That's how synonymous Rocksteady is with the Arkham trilogy. So when you say you are making a new Arkham game, you have all of our fucking attention. That's how much you have earned our respect. Before I continue, I want to show you how much the DC Universe really fucking means to me. So right here, I'm going to flip this. I have, in my opinion, the best version of fucking Batman to ever exist. He signed my fucking Funko. Kevin Conroy is one of the nicest people I ever met. And the saddest thing is that when I went to go and get this signed at MegaCon, I sadly just was not financially well off enough to afford the photo to take with him, even though I wanted it so bad. And that is one regret that I hold to this day, is that I never got a picture with one of my personal heroes. But I at least have this beautiful autograph that I will always have from one of his last Comic-Cons. And then I have this. Susan Eisenberg. If you don't know who this is the Wonder Woman from the DCAU. The Wonder Woman that everyone thinks of whenever you're thinking of Wonder Woman and Batman being together as a couple. And I got her to sign me a Funko as well. Like, the DC Universe really does mean a lot to me. So now, I'm going to talk about the Suicide Squad. So, why does the Suicide Squad game not work? But Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe does. Or Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe does. Why doesn't it work? Because you made one fatal mistake that the other two stories understood not to do. You fucked with a universe that we all cared about. That's it. That's all you did. That's all that has to be said. You fucked with a universe that has loyal fans, with people who love this story, with people who have cried over this story, with people who have boasted, talked about, had conversations about this story, sped run this story, people who have invested hours, days, years of their life into this kind of universe, this kind of story. You took their investment and you took a shit on it. That's what the problem is. When you come in and you go into a universe, that is well beloved by a lot of people, you need to come in there with the utmost of respect. Case in point, this is another situation like the Last of Us 2 leaks that eventually got out because apparently there was a disgruntled employee or whatever. But we found out what happened in the story. It saved me money, and this saves me money too. Because to see what the fuck they did, because I watched all the gameplay I could, watched all the cutscenes. I don't want to invest money in something that personally is going to upset me to such a degree, and I'm not going to get any kind of satisfaction out of it. Cool, the gameplay could look nice. That's cool. Here's the thing. While the gameplay is fucking phenomenal in the Arkham series, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't play the Arkham series for the combat, unless you're in Arkham City playing the fucking Horde Rush mode. That shit's great. But I don't play it for the gameplay. I play it to play through the story as Batman. That's what I do. I don't play it just because I can play as Batman. I do it so that I can play through the story as Batman. There is a very big difference. So with this story, not understanding, hey, you're in a universe that needs love and needs care. This is a universe that has 3, if you count Origins, 4 games that have have created a fan base, a very loyal and strong fan base. These people care about these characters. These people want these characters to succeed in everything that they do. And you shit on their legacy. And here's the thing, I don't understand why it's so hard to find people that genuinely just love the source material. Because here's the thing, this game can work. This game can legitimately work. And anyone who tells me that it can't is fucking lying to themselves. Because here's the thing, I'm going to tell you how you could tweak the story just so little. And the game works. And everyone loves it. It's a huge success. And the Arkham series continues on. And we still have Arkham Batman alive. You ready? This is perfect. I have the perfect way to save this game. You don't make the Justice League evil. Now you might be saying, okay, well, how are you going to have a Suicide Squad game without the Justice League being evil? Are you saying just make a full-on Justice League game? Because that doesn't sound like a small change. Nope. What you do instead is you have Brainiac, right? And what you could do is, just like how in the story, it is addressed that Earth 2 exists, and that Earth 2 has always been in communication with Brainiac and also Lex and trying to either save or destroy the Earth, whatever the fuck. What you could do is just say from Earth 2, what Brainiac did is that Brainiac has been going from universe to universe, capturing their versions of the Justice League, which makes sense. You know, it's Brainiac. And what you could say is that Brainiac had captured on Earth 2 the Crime Syndicate, which for those who don't know is the evil version of the Justice League. They came in with the help of Brainiac and they overwhelmed the League. And eventually this led to the League being captured. Now, what you could do with this then is now have the same exact Justice League fights, but it's the Crime Syndicate. So it makes sense why they're acting the way that they are and why they're killing the way they are. You could even have the news be curious and wondering, is this the Justice League or is there something else going on? You can have that intrigue for people that never heard of the Crime Syndicate. So you're just looking at this and being like, wow, the Justice League have really weird designs if you're new to the series. But people who are comic fans are like, oh, the Crime Syndicate. But wait, where's the Justice League? And it could be this constant mystery of where's the Justice League. So then the Suicide Squad has to take out each member of the Crime Syndicate, each, until they get to Brainiac and they free the League. Then the League can come together, beat Brainiac, and this can segue into 2 things. One, the live service aspect of the Suicide Squad where they're like, hey, we're happy to help. We're told that there's more people on more planets that need our help. We're going to go deal with this while you, the Justice League, cleans up here. You could have the Suicide Squad go on their multiversal journey to save other universes because they saved this one, and the Justice League basically starts working on replenishing their image and fixing up the cities and getting rid of the last bits of Brainiac. That's it. Instead of turning it into murder the Justice League, just turn it into save the Justice League. Now you might be saying, but what about the name, Kill the Justice League? That's the whole point of the game. I'm aware. I'm 100% aware. But here's the thing. There was 2 camps that were genuinely fighting each other, wondering what this game was going to be about. Some thought that this was going to be the death of the Justice League, which it turned out to be. But others were thinking it was going to be a fake out, a cop out. It was not actually going to happen. Now, keep in mind, as the timing of this video, we're only in the beginning days of this game being out. This game's only been out for 2 days. So sure, there could be a season where this all gets retconned. Maybe, fucking, I don't know. We have an Elseworld Batman come into play. Or maybe this was Elseworld's Justice League or whatever. Fine. Whatever. But here's the problem. You've already shown your hand. You've shown it in a way where you say, hey, we hate these characters. We do not like these characters. We're going to give them the most unceremonious death that we can imagine. You've already shown your hand for being very malicious and vindictive with the property that you were so gracious to have. There are people who would kill to have the ability to work on properties like this. And you've shown your hand to be this malicious cunt. And that's the problem. And here's the thing. People wouldn't even have a problem with the Justice League dying if they died heroic deaths. The only person in the entire game to die a heroic death was Wonder Woman. Which is ironic, because she's introduced in this game, but Arkham Batman, who has spent years trying to help Harley Quinn with her problems, he doesn't get a heroic death, he dies on a park bench. And that's the problem, is they took a universe that people actually genuinely care about, and they just basically told them to go fuck themselves. And that's the problem. Again, if you take this kind of game and you tweak it one of two ways. One, you either make the Justice League captured and have the Crime Syndicate come around and you have to fight them, and that's still killing the Justice League because you're just killing an alternate version. You could do that. That still works. The name still works with that. Or you don't put it in the Arkhamverse. Do a Gotham Knight situation. But you know why they didn't do a Gotham Knight situation? Because Gotham Knights didn't sell as well as they had hoped. That's the problem. The minute you say this is a Batman game that doesn't take place in the Arkham universe, there's a large sector of people who just genuinely don't give a fuck. And that big sector is not something that WB Games can look over, because when you hear the love and the fan base of the Arkhamverse, in my honest opinion, is by far the biggest fan base when it comes to superhero gaming. The only one that has a chance to catch up, and I say chance to catch up, they are not there yet, is Spider-Man for PS4. But right now, Arkham reigns supreme, hands down. And DC knows that. DC knows the power of the Arkham series. So they knew, if we market this as an Arkham game, then it works. It gets us tons of money. It gets us tons of views. It gets us tons of people wanting to join us. That makes sense. Don't get me wrong. Marketing-wise, this makes sense. This is totally understandable. But the story you made is ass. The way you went about addressing these characters is trash. The fact that we never even get to see how the Justice League are formed, they're formed off-screen, is disrespectful as fuck. Especially since you could argue, if you really want to continue the Batman Arkham series, you could argue they were kind of building up to the formation of the Justice League. There were mentions to the Justice League multiple times in different games, and you're telling me they form off-screen? Like, this isn't a small thing. Like, if anything, it's kind of fucked up when you think about it. In this universe, the Suicide Squad forming is considered a bigger accomplishment than the Justice League. Don't get me wrong, yeah, the Justice League got their big fucking Hall of Justice and all that. Don't get me wrong, and they got a museum. That's fine, that's cool. But in terms of what the viewer sees, we never see the Justice League form. We see the Suicide Squad form, which shows us, as the viewer, the Suicide Squad's introduction was more important to show than the Justice League's. And that's disrespectful to me, in my opinion. How is it disrespectful? Because at the end of the day, when you address this game, at the end of the day, if we go pound for pound, who is more popular? Who has more fans? Who has more love and admiration? The Suicide Squad or the Justice League? We go member by member. The Justice League will always win. The only chance you have for a fan to say, I like this character more than a Justice League member, is maybe someone who likes Harley Quinn more than some members of the Justice League. But beyond that, no. No, they have a bigger fan base. You use the Justice League to prop up your game. That was step one. Step two was using the Arkham universe with Arkham Batman to prop up your game. That's number two. Then three, you tried to run on the coattails of the popularity of recent Harley Quinn projects. You used all three, and somehow you still mismanaged and fucked up all three. How did you fuck up each one? I don't know. You made the Justice League evil and turned into bloodthirsty murderers where they kill even their fucking family members. Looking at you, Batman. Then you fuck up Arkham Batman, the perfect ending for what he had for Nightmare Bat. Perfect close ending. Fucking Robin and Oracle gonna go get married. Poison Ivy sacrifices her life to save Gotham. That doesn't matter. Fucking Poison Ivy's back. Batman dies like a fucking... I don't know what I was saying. That's how pissed I am. I can't even talk. Batman dies like a fucking punk-ass bitch on a fucking park bench to someone he's knocked out multiple times throughout the entirety of the Arkham series. And then Harley Quinn, you literally use her as the face of the game, and all she does is be annoying, act shocked, talk shit constantly, and she's just so worthless. Not to mention also, she's just a get out of jail free card for just about most big scenarios. Like, all of a sudden, she now can destroy the Nightmare Batman's fear toxin. Like, she can just shut it off and be like, haha, you thought I wasn't gonna be invincible to your fear toxin? I used to bunk and sleep next to the Scarecrow at prison. Now you have to deal with my fear toxin. Pasham, pasham, pasham. And then they beat him. It's just... like, you had the tools. You had the tools. You had the methods. You had the means to make a great story. Make a story that everyone will care about. Make a story that people would look at and just say, I remember that. That story makes me happy. You had the chance to do that. You did. Because that's what the Arkham series was built off of. You had Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. And even though some people have their problems with some of those games, you will still hear a lot of people talking about how much they love those games, how they made great memories with them, and how they make them super happy. And for you to take that loyalty, that love, that trust, and spit it in the face and tell us, who dare to have a nerve to say we hate this, to look us in the face and say, you don't know the full story, you need to play more seasons of this game to figure out more of what's going on. No, because you've already shown me your hand. You've shown me that you're disrespectful to the characters that I care about. You've shown that you don't care about how I feel. You've shown that you don't care how anyone feels, honestly. Like, why do I want to play a game that just feels so mean-spirited? Like, this feels like someone read the comic, The Boys, and turned it into a game. And that's just something that doesn't interest me. If I want that, I'll go watch The Boys, and that's way better than this.